Let's compare notes on what it is to soothe a distressed child in my generation versus my parents' generation. Before we left Florida to come back to Germany, we all decided to go out to lunch, and our 3-year-old was visibly upset about the thought of leaving his grandparents. He was sitting in my father's lap, whining and crying. We were all trying to do our best to soothe him. He wasn't having any of it. So in a feeble attempt to try and de-escalate the situation, my father did what was familiar to him, and he simply told our son, "You can't do that here." He doesn't even know what that statement means. He didn't know that his emotions wouldn't be welcome, that his emotions are only tolerated in a private place versus a public place. But needless to say, he didn't feel met or seen or identified with. He didn't feel any sense of compassion towards his emotional distress. At this time, I brought our son outside because I felt he was overstimulated by his environment and he needed one-on-one time with a single parent. As soon as I brought him out, I let him know that what he was feeling was valid, that he could take up as much space as he needed to emotionally relieve himself. And then we started listing emotions and he landed on sadness. As soon as he was able to name sadness, it was almost as though the symptoms associated with that emotion just dissipated. And this was about a 20-minute cycle of him feeling the full range of sadness and then relieving himself of it. And I didn't have that opportunity as a child. I'm not naysaying the way my parents raised me, but they didn't know how to validate their kids' emotional state. So I was called overreactive, or I was sent away to my room to be in isolation. And this had a lot of consequences. I had emotional outbursts well into adulthood because I was never taught how to responsibly self-soothe. So I'm trying to break that cycle for the next generation.